Weapon throws. A simple move anyone can do. You just aim in a direction and press a button, and your character lets go of the weapon. The longer you hold that button, the farther your weapon goes. And that's basically it. Nothing special, right? I mean, the most damage a single fully charged weapon throw can do is 8, which is slightly more than unarmed downlight. But very rarely do people charge a weapon throw for that long anyways. So how does such a simple move become so overpowered? If you watched this year's Winter Finals, you probably know who Snowy is, as he got first in ones. Snowy is notoriously known for his weapon throws. You won't see a single stock where Snowy doesn't throw his weapon. He practically uses it as a weapon itself. If you paid attention to the stats that they showed at the end of each match, Snowy had way more weapon throws than his opponent, every time.
And you see them, they're back.
Yeah.
The weapon throws are back 24. So, okay, from a statistical analysis here, if Snowy can average more than 22 weapon throws, Snowy should win.
That's his win condition.
Yep.
It's not getting stocks and not getting hit.
Nope,
It's just
nothing
making
else.
sure you get your weapon toss damage up, or numbers up.
But believe it or not, this isn't the first time we've seen weapon throws used like this. This has actually been going on for a long time. Take this clip for example. This is a tournament in 2016, which I believe is called the Brawlhalla circuit, where Hermison did this.
In this last set, this last match of the set.
I mean, if you're Stimpy, this is such an inventive playstyle to play against. Nobody plays like this. Nobody plays with this amount of weapon throws. And this is a relatively new thing to deal with Dash. And he just keeps throwing up into recovery over and over again.
That's what I'm trying to say. Nice neutral air from Hermison, though, who's been taking this momentum and really playing very well. The weapon tosses into recoveries. Another
Almost
one.
3.
Can we see a fourth one?
4?
No fourth one.
No.
But the damage done, and then the side stick picks up the KO.
Now what he's doing looks pretty simple, and it kind of is, but at the same time, it's not as easy to defend against. Whenever Hermison throws his weapon upwards, he forces his opponent into a lose-lose situation. Either dodge the weapon throw and get punished for it because you have no dodge, or take the hit from the weapon throw and get stunned, which again leads to another punish. Now here's Snowy, not exactly doing it in the same way, but the concept remains the same. And these are just 2 out of the many examples there are out there. And this is also only one of the many ways weapon throws can be used. Well, for starters, you have weapon starving, which may not be the most obvious, but it's definitely one of the most common. In Brawlhalla, every game you enter, you start off unarmed, and in order to pick up a weapon, you need to wait for one to spawn. The game will only spawn a certain amount of weapons depending on how many people are on stage. So if you juggle your weapons by throwing them upwards repeatedly, you can delay your opponent from getting a weapon indefinitely, which forces them to play unarmed, leaving them at a disadvantage. Well, not really a disadvantage, but we'll talk about that later. You can also combine this with weapon priming. Since your weapons alternate every time you pick up a weapon, you can set it up in a way that when you weapon starve your opponent, you also get the same weapon you want every time. And while your opponent is unarmed, you can pressure them by throwing your weapon whenever they try to pick one up themselves. Now let's talk about the bigger reasons why weapon throws are so overpowered. Weapon combos. Weapon combos are the bread and butter of weapon throws. You can use them to start combos, extend combos, and even end them. A weapon that arguably uses them the most is Scythe, and that's probably because Scythe doesn't have any true combos. But with weapon throws, Scythe does have true combos. So that's why you see almost every Scythe player throw their weapon every chance they get. Also, slow weapons like hammer and axe get thrown too, because those weapons aren't really string heavy and most of their combos last 2 or 3 moves. So to combat that, you can extend combos with weapon throws, as you've probably seen with Snowy or Luna. Another big thing is edge guarding. If you're not confident in taking someone's stock off stage, no worries, just throw your weapon, and if they dodge, well great, now they can't dodge your attack when you ground pound them. And if it hits and they're not dead, just pick it back up and throw it again. Weapon throw edge guards completely remove the risk of you getting reversed because you are able to put so much distance between you and your opponent, but at the same time, you can still hit them. And I almost forgot about the egg drop, which combines both a weapon throw true combo and a weapon throw edge guard. We've seen this a lot with Spear, and it's for a good reason. It's fast, reliable, and inescapable once the weapon throw connects. Now if you're on the receiving end of an edge guard, how do you protect yourself against this? Well, you're not gonna believe this. The best way to stop weapon throw edge guards is by throwing your weapon first. That's right, another weapon throw. I know, who could have guessed that? If you throw your weapon towards your opponent while you're off stage, it forces them to dodge or move away from the edge. giving you an opportunity to come back on stage. And in general, because weapons only have hitboxes when thrown, they basically out-prioritize every single move in the game. You can't win a trade against a weapon throw. You will lose every time. And there isn't really a deflect mechanic in Brawlhalla, so your only choice is either dodge or move away. So that basically means you want to stop your opponent from hitting you, weapon throw. You want to stop a string or combo, weapon throw. This is why weapon throws are so important in 2s, because if your teammate's getting comboed and you're not really close enough to stop it, you can just throw your weapon and the combo immediately stops. You can also save your teammate if they're about to get sent flying into the blast zone. If you throw your weapon at your teammate, it causes their momentum to stop, and the force on your opponent's attack completely gets negated. You can literally throw your weapon in any situation. That's why most people just throw their weapons without the intention of actually doing anything. But on the possibility that it hits, they have so many opportunities to take advantage of it. Now, how do you change weapon throws then? Here's how I think weapon throws should be changed. Now these are just some examples, and of course there isn't a clear-cut answer, but I think these ideas are kind of in the right direction. The first way to nerf weapon throws is to not actually nerf them at all. What BMG really needs to do is nerf unarmed. A big downside to throwing your weapon is leaving yourself without one, which is supposed to be a big disadvantage. But because of how well you can defend yourself against other weapons with unarmed, the reward is much greater than the risk, and that's why people are willing to throw their weapons without any hesitation. I mean, think about it. You throw your weapon and miss. Worst case scenario, you're unarmed until another weapon spawns. And with the dodge changes still being limited to experimental mode, running away is also a good option. But if that weapon hits, you basically get free extra hits by extending combos. Another change BMG can do that directly changes weapon throws is by changing the weapon throw properties of each weapon. Now what I mean by that is not all weapon hitboxes are created equal. An orb will have a significantly smaller hitbox than Lance, which means Lance has a better chance of hitting your opponent because it's bigger. But the weird part is you can throw an orb at the same speed as a Lance, even though Lance is technically a heavier weapon. I think that weapons with smaller hitboxes like orb or katars should be noticeably faster when thrown, compared to bigger weapons like Lance and Hammer, which should be slow. That way you can balance out the fact that bigger weapons have a better hitbox, or else there's literally no advantage to throwing a smaller weapon. Now the changes I mentioned wouldn't really change how weapon throws work in terms of mechanics. They still would be able to do everything I mentioned earlier, but this last idea would actually fundamentally change weapon throws. What if weapon throws weren't allowed to punish certain moves? I don't know, maybe something like only heavy attacks or only recoveries? Deciding which moves would be invincible to weapon throws would be a tough decision to make, because you don't want to make weapon throws completely useless. Now the biggest problem to nerfing weapon throws is how well they work against passive players. When you and your opponent are in neutral and they're being super annoying by running away and not attacking at all, you can throw your weapon and force an interaction. So nerfing weapon throws' ability to do that could increase the amount of passive play, and you already know that's really bad in Brawlhalla right now. Anyways, that's how I think weapon throws are overpowered and how BMG could make them more balanced. Let me know what you think. Should weapon throws be nerfed or should they stay the same? And if they never get nerfed, I at least hope that they make bigger weapons slower when thrown and smaller weapons faster. Because if you're playing someone like Caspian, you better hope that your weapon throws are on point. And on the other hand, if you're Teros, you'll have no trouble hitting weapon throws. But yeah, that's it from me. Make sure to join the Discord, that's how I talk to most of you guys. And also follow the Twitch. I've been having a lot of fun streaming and we got affiliates, so channel emotes and all that cool stuff are now available. And last but not least, I'm doing another Discord giveaway. This time it's the new Fate skin from the Amazon Prime bundle. And if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can get the skin if you win the giveaway. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, or evening, or night, depending on where you are. Peace.